plan this evening. This is the Reform Alliance. If you have any questions or need to contact us, you can reach us at 501-244-9028. You can also email us at thereformalliance.org. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So we're happy that you're joining us tonight, and we will be starting our town hall meeting here in just a moment. If you have any questions, you will press 0 on your keypad, and we will have people to get your questions in the queue. And we hope to answer all your questions this evening, but if we do not get to your question, again, you can call us at 501-244-9028 and also email us at thereformalliance.org. We're going to be calling out to folks in about 1 or 2 minutes. So again, welcome to the Reform Alliance. This is our town hall meeting. We have a great topic this evening. We're going to talk about the Arkansas 529 plan, and we have our guest this afternoon, Grant Wallace, who is he's the Chief Deputy Treasurer, and Emma Willis, who is Director of the 529 programs and financial education with the Arkansas Treasurer's Office. This is the Reform Alliance, and we hope you have questions for us this evening. Remember that you can press 0 on your phone keypad for questions, and we'll have someone get those questions and put them in the queue and get them to our panel this evening. The Reform Alliance, you can contact us at 501-244-9028. And you can also email us at thereformalliance.org. And we encourage you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So stay with us, and we're starting to get some folks. We're going to be calling, answering your questions here in just a minute. Again, thanks for joining us. Grant, thank you, and Emma for joining us. And we also have my board chair, Lori Lee. She is on the board of the Reform Alliance, and she'll be joining us during this conversation also. So I'm really excited about this topic. It's a plan that we really want Arkansans to know about, and so we're excited to have Grant and Emma to share information with you this evening on the Arkansas 529 plan. We're going to start here in about 45 seconds, so that's going to give you enough time to sit back, relax, and hear about this great program, which is called the Arkansas 529 program. Our guest this evening, Grant Wallace, who is Deputy Treasurer, and Emma Willis, who is Director of the 529 programs and financial education with the Arkansas Treasurer's Office. This is the Reform Alliance. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to education reform here in Arkansas. You can contact us 501-244-9028. You can also email us for more information about our organization and the things that we support. Our email address is info@thereformalliance.org. And also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and also Instagram. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good evening, and thank you for joining the Reform Alliance for our town hall meeting. I'm Valerie Pruitt, the Executive Director of the Reform Alliance. The Reform Alliance is a nonprofit organization, and we are dedicated to education reform in Arkansas. We are dedicated to supporting school opportunities for all students in Arkansas, and we strive to raise public awareness of all types of education options for families, including traditional public schools, charter schools, magnet schools, online learning, private schools, and also homeschooling. In addition, we're very proud to promote the Succeed Scholarship Program. Tonight, we're going to share information with you on a plan that is available to all Arkansans that will allow parents to send their child to a private school of their choice. And here to talk about that tonight, which is the Arkansas 529 plan. Our guests are Arkansas Treasurer, Chief Deputy Treasurer Grant Wallace, and Emma Willett, who is Director of the 529 programs and the educational programs in the Treasurer's office. Welcome, Grant and Emma, to our TeleTownHall meeting this evening.
Thank you very much for having us. We're excited to be able to take this opportunity to spread the word about the Arkansas 529 plan. And like you said, it's something that we're excited about and is a wonderful tool for parents to be able to continue to provide the foundation of education for all of Arkansas students.
Well, we're excited for our listeners to learn more about that. And if you have any questions for the panel during this discussion, press 0 on your phone keypad. And also, you can email in your questions at info@thereformalliance.org, and we're going to do our best to get to your questions. Before we start with our questions to Emma and Grant, we have a polling question we'd like to ask our listeners. First question, do you have a child in K through 12 schools? Press 1 for yes and 2 for no. Again, on your telephone keypad to answer that question, do you have a child in K through 12 schools? 1 for yes, 2 for no. All right, we're going to get started with our questions. Again, Grant and Emma, thank you so much, and we're really excited about you coming on our TeleTownHall meeting to share information. So first of all, let me ask this question. What is the 529 plan, the Arkansas 529 gift plan?
So, Emma, why don't you go ahead and jump in and give everybody just kind of the basic overview of what a 529 is.
So your Arkansas 529 plan is an investment plan that allows families to start saving for their child's future education goals or even K through 12 education with as little as $25. The 529 plan is set up to allow you to receive a state tax deduction for your contributions into the account. And those monies can be used, again, towards K-12 tuition only or for those post-secondary goals of books and tuition as well as room and board, as well as a couple other features. And so that's the primary goal of an Arkansas 529 is to allow you an opportunity to save, allow your money to actually grow some earnings with that investment portfolio, and just give you more flexibility and opportunity than you would get in a traditional savings account.
And the only thing that I would add is this was a long-standing program that the state has had prior to even Treasurer Milligan coming into office, but it was one of those best-kept secrets in the state. And it was a goal and passion of Treasurer Milligan to promote educational opportunities for our students and to provide them the foundation that they need to build upon and the state needs in order to be able to recruit jobs, recruit industries. We have to have an educated workforce, and this is something that these funds can go towards anything from your traditional 4-year to 2-year university education system to vocational and technical education opportunities as well.
I want to remind our listeners that if you have a question, please press 0 on your phone keypad, and we'll get your question to our panelists this evening. How does a person open a 529 gift plan account?
So a 529 can be opened in a couple of different ways. You have the opportunity to either visit us on www.arkansas529.org, and the enrollment process takes about 11 minutes, or you have the opportunity to call our office or our 1-800 number and receive or request a paper enrollment packet. And that also takes a little bit of time. We just ask that you have all the necessary information on hand, and it'll ask you a number of questions about how you want to initially fund the account, and we make it quick, simple, and as easy as possible to get you started.
The other question I'd like to ask, who controls the assets in the account?
So our assets are managed by Vanguard. All funds are invested in Vanguard's total index funds. We also offer an opportunity at a high-yield savings account that is managed by Sallie Mae.
But I would say all of the options to be able to direct how those investments are managed or controlled are up to the account owner, i.e. the parents or grandparents who establish the account. They will be able to establish what parameters they want to go in, whether it's an age-based glide path option, whether it's a conservative, moderate, or aggressive type portfolio. So you have all those various options when you enroll in the account that you get to select from, and you do have the opportunity twice a year to change that selection as you kind of deem necessary.
So if somebody already has an investment plan, are they allowed to use that plan to fund a 529?
So I guess the question is if they have like just a traditional Edward Jones account or anything like. Any of those earnings or any of that those funds can be rolled into and can be used to establish a 529.
And who can start a 529 for a student?
So 529s can be started by the parent, legal guardian, even a neighbor who sees the need or has the desire to want to save for their kids' higher education goals. So we make it to where it's more of a community event, and families don't have to feel so overwhelmed by the process of trying to save for their child's education, because it can be expensive. So 529s, and ours specifically, is designed to where everybody can see themselves contributing and taking part in helping to save for their child's education goals. So there's a great deal of flexibility in who can set up the accounts.
So is it restricted to people, or can businesses entities open 529s?
And that's a great question. So we do have businesses, we have nonprofit organizations who have taken the opportunity to actually open 529s for the people they serve or their constituents. And so that is an opportunity you have to set up a 529 as a business and be able to fund beneficiaries in that way.
And Will, just to jump on that, something that Treasurer Milligan was able to work out even just as recently as a month ago, we have been able to work and partner with the Division of Children and Family Services to establish these accounts for foster kids. So if you are a foster parent, or if you know of foster kids within your children's classes, these accounts we establish them with DCFS, but anybody, like Emma said, can contribute to them and can help them, a very needy and worthy population as well.
So can a church open up a 529 for a family, a student?
They can. A church has the opportunity to do that. Again, we work with within these different groups case by case, but we have noticed an uptake in organizations or churches wanting to get involved in helping to fund 529 accounts. And so they have seen it as a way of incentivizing that child for merit-based initiatives, whether that's great grades, whether it's a birthday, but it's communities actually seeing an opportunity to really give that child a boost where it counts. And that's the long-term goal of giving them that education that'll help them get further in life. So, yes, churches have that ability as well.
Great. I just want to remind our listeners, if they have any questions for you, please press 0 on your phone keypad, and you can also email your questions to us at info@thereformalliance.org. We do have a question that's come in from Richard from Ford City, and he wants to know what are the tax benefits of the 529 gift plan.
And Richard, that's a great question. The tax benefits for an individual, as was mentioned previously, are $5,000 on your state income taxes, a deduction up to $5,000 per individual, $10,000 for a married couple who's filed jointly. However, there's also, we were talking about businesses that established, there's also an employer tax deduction that was passed in our last general session that allows up to $500 per employee to be deducted from their business taxes. And if you were to have an out-of-state 529 account, you can get up to a $3,000 tax deduction per individual.
What state can I give that to?
Exactly. But hold on, there's even more. If you have an out-of-state account and you roll it into an Arkansas account, you get a one-time bonus of $7,500 tax deduction when you roll those funds over into an Arkansas account. And the final piece that we were able to get passed out of the General Assembly was a carry-forward provision. So say you had 1 year where you had a windfall of funds, a individual could contribute up to $25,000 in that year and carry that tax deduction up to 4 additional years. So we've done a lot of work in trying to bring additional tax benefits to these plans and incentivize the growth and investment in our kids' futures, because it truly is an investment, and being able to lay a solid educational foundation for them.
So Valerie and I are, and you won't believe this, Grant, are both grandparents.
No way.
And so, I did start my grandson a 529 plan before it was a K-12 program.
Mm-hmm.
So in doing that, now that we have a K-12 program in Arkansas, do I have to do something different, or is it automatically now eligible for K-12 use?
No, it's automatically eligible. Emma, do you want to expand on that?
I will say that it really is automatically eligible, and those funds can be used for tuition only within K-12 private, but you are ready and set to go. So the minute you decide that you want to direct those funds towards a private school tuition, you have an opportunity to do that. It's still as easy as calling our 1-800 number and requesting a qualified withdrawal for your private school tuition.
So I do have a follow-up question really quick. So are there specific schools that are eligible to use it, or can I pick any private school in the state of Arkansas?
You can pick any private school in the state of Arkansas. So it's up to you as an Arkansas taxpayer to identify that this is a qualified withdrawal, and it will be directed towards the payment of tuition at a private school.
We do have a question that's come in from one of our listeners, and this is Frank from Little Rock. Is the 529 plan an annuity? And, let's answer that first. He's got 3 questions here. So is it an annuity, like an annuity?
No, I will say no.
Is it a tax-free and matched by the funds that you put in it?
It is. It does grow tax-free, and the funds are not matched.
Okay. And I think he also wants to know, can this be used in another state other than
Yes, so Arkansas 529 plan, however, it carries the distinction of being the Arkansas state-sponsored 529. Those funds can be used anywhere financial aid is accepted. So you have a great deal of flexibility in where your $529 can go. We do not restrict you to the state of Arkansas.
Okay. I do want to remind our listeners again that if you have a question or questions, please press 0 on your keypad, and we will get your questions to our panel. We're going to go to another polling question.
Okay.
Okay. Do you support families having more options available when they are looking for the school that best fits their child's learning needs? To answer that question, please press 1 for yes on your telephone keypad, or 2 for no. Again, that question is, do you support families having more options available when they are looking for the school that best fits their child's learning needs? Press 1 for yes, 2 for no, or 3 if you need additional information. Again, to our listeners, if you have questions, please press 0 on your phone keypad, and we'll get those questions into our panel. And you can also email your questions to info@thereformalliance.org.
And Valerie, real quick, don't mean to interrupt, but do want to go back and just kind of make sure everybody understands the organization of the 529 program here in Arkansas. We've got 2 different plans. One is an advisor sold plan, and that's the GIFT plan, and you can find that on arkansas529.org. And the advisor sold plan, which is bought through BlackRock, is their iShares 529. So I just want to make sure that anybody that does have a financial advisor and is working with them, also we do have a state-sponsored 529 program that would be available through your financial advisor.
Okay.
Well, what are the differences in those, Grant?
Well, Emma, do you want to hit kind of some of the highlights between the 2 plans?
Yeah, so I will say for the person who finds himself a little bit more comfortable with having a financial advisor, then our iShares by BlackRock product is really in line with what your needs are. And so you'll find a great deal of people have a number of investments or products that they've purchased through a financial advisor, and it's just an opportunity to have additional guidance. There are some additional fees to consider when you have a person being so hands-on with your advisor sold product, whereas your direct sold product is already set and everything is already built into one model to be of service to you, knowing that you don't have that person to give you just real-time feedback on how your program is or how your plan is going day to day.
So if you don't have a financial advisor, but you're just investing this on your own, are there fees incurred with the plan?
Yes,
so there are fees, and yes, there are fees, and the best way to look at it is that it's going to cost you within the Arkansas Direct Sold plan roughly $5.30 to manage $1,000. And so our fees are still relatively low, and we do a great deal within the Treasurer's office. And I will say under Treasurer Milligan's administration, we have worked hard to reduce our state fees associated with your 529 plans. It has been a goal. It's a continued effort to make sure we can bring you something that is fairly low cost, because we know how hard you work for your money, and we want you to maintain that. So we do a great deal to make sure that these plans are affordable, and we want you to be comfortable with the product, which is why we chose Vanguard as our asset manager.
And I will just add, we've had 2 rate reductions since Treasurer Milligan took office that we've been able to renegotiate. So we will continue to, like Emma said, push for that.
So let's talk about the contribution limits again. So you said $5,000 per individual, $10,000 per married couple?
Now, that's what they can deduct up to. The contribution limits, Emma, do you want to go over what total they can contribute per year?
So within a year, we're looking at $75,000. Over the lifetime of an account, $366,000 for that account owner.
So if a child has 75 aunts and uncles, they can only each give $1,000. That account will receive $75,000 annually.
Within that year, that is correct. And then over the lifetime of that account, $366,000.
Okay.
And I will say that child is doing really great to have 75 aunts and uncles and to get those contributions.
I'm working on it.
That's a stellar situation.
You have a big family.
And it is.
Yeah.
Really,
and every one of them would be able to take that tax deduction.
They would, and that's
really
the benefit of a
529.
Win-win.
So it's a tax. So if they gave $1,000, they would be able to deduct $1,000 gift off their state income tax.
Right.
Okay. That'd be better than a birthday gift or a Christmas gift.
Well, and exactly. And that's what we really have been trying to change the mentality of gift giving, and understanding that while it's great for little Timmy and Sally to get the toy or the Xbox or any of that, those tend to have a shelf life. Mm-hmm. And this is something this is a gift that truly can keep giving, and it's a gift that they will have, that will build a lifetime upon. And that's what we're really trying to change that mindset and look. And we actually have YouGift platform within our 529 program that as a parent, when it's your child's birthday, you send out this code to all your friends and family and their friends and family, and that's what they can use to contribute towards their account.
Now, is there a time limit on withdrawal? So, like my grandson's 2, he's not going to start kindergarten, first grade for a couple of years. But if I started this when he were 6 and I wanted to send him to a private first grade, can I contribute it and then take it right back out?
You actually have the opportunity to do that. So what everybody should recognize within the 529, which is our IRS code 529, what we have identified and what the government has been able to identify is that we all work hard as parents and family members to get these kids a great education. So 529s were established so that you weren't restricted in when you pull the funds out, because sometimes we got to all recognize that parents are late bloomers when it comes to some of this information. A great deal of our parents think that, they shouldn't save so early in life, but they should wait later in life. And so a lot of those parents are parents of 11th graders, and they choose to start saving a year before it's time for their kid to go to school, or 12th graders. And so you have the opportunity to establish that account and within 6 months or less, pull those funds right back out and pay for qualified education expenses. So if you learned about this today and you wanted to start saving tomorrow, and you put those funds in, you do have the opportunity to pull those funds out for that account, and you will not be penalized at any extent for that. So you can put it in and pull it right back out.
You're limiting your growth potential with an investment. This is an investment tool, and you would be limiting your ability to grow those assets under management.
And how long have you guys been doing this?
Emma, the original establishment when?
So the legislation passed in 99. So the state officially started our plan in 2005, and it's seen a great deal of changes since then. We originally started with Merrill Lynch and have since moved to a census being our program manager. The fund structures have remained fairly similar since start to now, but we have been doing this a little over 13 years now.
So and I don't want to pin you down to numbers, but can you give us an idea of kind of the growth that you've seen one of these accounts percentage-wise? I mean, is it 2%, 5%? Does it beat the average CD? Well, and I don't want to put you guys in put you in a box.
I'll speak from a overall perspective,
right,
because it is a challenge to sit and kind of go on the account level. But from the overall perspective, since Treasurer Milligan took office, the program in total, assets under management, has grown 34%. As you kind of look and, let's pick some moderate growth kind of account. If somebody had picked that and select that option, I want to say the last report I saw year over year was something around like 12%. Am I correct, Emma? Something like that. And you have to keep in mind, the stock market has been going gangbusters right now, and the more heavily tilted you're towards that, you're going to get those ebbs and flows that it comes. But we have definitely seen some tremendous growth. It is going to beat your average CD or savings accounts or anything like that.
We have a question from Michael in Springdale. He wants to know if the 529 plan is FDIC insured.
So the piece of our program that is FDIC insured will be our high yield savings account. Because the rest of the program is in investments, we cannot offer FDIC insurance. And I will reemphasize that it is an investment. So unless you choose the high yield savings account, then there is no FDIC insurance.
So speaking of the feds, what benefit federally do you get from this?
The growth is tax-free. So the money goes in after taxes.
But there's no federal tax deduction.
There's no federal tax deduction, but the money goes in after taxes, obviously. The growth is tax-free, and the withdrawals are tax-free.
And I think Emma may have addressed this initially, but for people who may have joined late, what is the initial startup fee for, what's the initial investment, Emma?
So initially, it's $25 to get started in the Arkansas 529.
Excellent.
So that makes it affordable for.
And that is the beauty of this. Is for every family, every student, all across the state. It's all about priorities and investing. If you see this as an expense, you're really not going to get it. This is an investment in your child's future, and we can all sit here and say, there's no amount of money that we wouldn't invest in our kids, and you just have, if you look at it with that mentality, and there's nobody that could not benefit from this program.
So let's say you invest in this, and you go all the way. Your kid, it goes to public school the whole time. They graduate and they decide they're not going to college, and you've got $26,000 sitting in this account. Now what do you do with it? You can roll it over and name another beneficiary. So those are your options. Yes, that's your options. Or you can use it for yourself. If you want to go and continue your higher education, or attain, maybe you weren't able to attain a higher education, you can go and now use those funds. But there's no withdrawing that for
you can withdraw it, but you're going to have you will
Tax
face the penalty.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess that goes back to my question. Can the designated beneficiary on the account be changed? So yes, it can, but how do you go
Yeah,
about
Emma,
that?
why don't you kind of go into the details of changing, if that were to arise, the need to change a beneficiary?
So what would happen in the case of changing the beneficiary within the account is that you can roll those funds over immediately to a family member. If it happens to be somebody outside of the family at that point, you would close the account and reestablish it in the name of that person that's not identified as an immediate family member, which would be a cousin or a sibling is how we identify immediate family members. And still, even if you have to close it and change it, there will be no penalty incurred because the funds will stay in a 529.
Again, to our listeners, if you have questions for Emma or Grant, please press 0 on your keypad, and we will get your questions in the queue. And you can also email those at info@thereformalliance.org. And if you are just joining us, our guests tonight, Grant Wallace, the Chief Deputy Treasurer, and Emma Willis, Director of 529 Programs and Financial Education for the State Treasurer of Arkansas. And we really do appreciate you both being here and answering these questions and sharing this great information about Arkansas's 529 plan.
Again, thank you for the opportunity. This is something that we, the Treasurer Milligan, is very passionate about, and we in his office have taken up that mantle and continue to build that passion to promote education for our children all across the state.
Something to be said that it's grown 34% in the last, 3.5, 4 years. You guys are doing a great job. I know that we attended a meeting where Emma spoke and gave out some amazing information, and hence why you're here tonight. We want to help promote this program through our efforts at the Reform Alliance, through our social media and through our newsletters, and encourage parents to use this. Grant, it's not going to come to any surprise to you that in Arkansas we have 300,000 Arkansans that are 19 years of age or older that do not have a high school diploma.
Right.
And so that is unfortunate. We're doing our best here at the Reform Alliance to make sure that people know the options that are out there. I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention some of the other things that go on in our office. Why we've got some folks on the line. But we do have, as you well know, the Succeed Scholarship Program, which is a program, it's a voucher actually, for kids with IEP. If you don't know what an IEP is, you probably don't have a child that has an IEP, but it is called an individual education plan, and those are typically kids with special needs. So that gives a family up to a little over $6,700 this year to go to a private school that is approved by the Department of Education, and you can see a list of those schools on our website. I think we have about 34.
We have 34 schools now
approved. And so then we have, of course, the school choice law that we passed in 2015, interdistrict, where you can go to a Arkansas public school in any district as long as that district is not under a DSAG order, and I think there are 12 districts left under DSAG orders. That's
amazing.
Crazy in and of itself, because most of those are 50, 60 years old. We're trying to get those cleaned up, but for instance, if you work in Little Rock and live in Cabot and you want your child to go to school in Little Rock, you can petition the state to have a transfer done to the City of Little Rock schools. That information is on our website. There are also charter schools available. A lot of people, Grant, what you and Emma wouldn't believe, we get calls here in our office on a daily basis. They do not know that charter schools are free.
There's still people that feel that they're
they think that they're private schools.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and letting people have that information. That we have some amazing charter schools in the state. We have some terrible charter schools in the state, just like we have some great public schools in the state, and we have some terrible public schools in the state. So our mission is to make sure that families know that there are options out there, and that we hope and work so that every child can find an educational environment that fits their needs. We believe in public education. We believe that the majority of children will always be educated in the public school, and that many of our schools do an amazing job with the majority of our kids. But there are kids, like I have a young daughter I talk about all the time that she was a round peg trying to go in a square hole. Wasn't her fault, wasn't the school's fault, wasn't the principal's fault, it was just is.
Yes.
So fortunately for my family, we had the opportunity to change that. And Valerie, it just looks like another question came in here from Meredith about the 529 plan out of Little Rock. You want to give that one?
Yeah,
to Grant
okay. Meredith, thanks for your question. What happens if you establish a 529 plan for a young child and move out of state? Can you use the 529 plan on out-of-state K through 12 tuition?
Okay, so and Emma can kind of get into some of the details, but I will just briefly talk about the federal legislation and its impacts on states. The K through 12 piece was done federally in tax reform that was passed last December. Every state is different in the way that was adopted. Arkansas had to change our underlying legislation and statute in order to be able to utilize $529 in K through 12. Some states were able to do it through a plan amendment or change within their governing structure of the board that oversees it. Many states have chosen not to adopt or amend their plan to allow. So it really, to answer your question, Meredith, it would depend upon the state in which you were moved if K through 12 would be eligible expenses. But Emma can go in and get into some more of the details on that.
Okay. Emma?
So what I would say is that as long as the funds are drafted from an Arkansas 529 plan, you would adhere to Arkansas state law associated with those $529. What you should also know about a 529 is that you as a taxpayer are responsible for reporting to the IRS. So however we let you save those funds in a 529, it is still really report anything on your side.
Okay. Thank you, Emma. We are about out of time, and so I want Emma and Grant, if there any information that we haven't covered that you feel is important for our listeners to know, if you'd go ahead and share that with us.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is as we kind of get out and start educating individuals on K through 12, are to continue to reach out to us, continue to pay attention. This is going to be an ever-evolving kind of thing. I know homeschool was something that was not continued. The Cruz Amendment was dropped when tax reform was eventually passed and agreed to last December. I know Senator Cruz had mentioned that he wants to bring that back up. So that's something that we'll have to continue to watch for and look out for as things progress. The 529 is an ever-evolving industry, and just kind of keep in touch and in tune with what we're doing. Again, regardless of whether you're using this for K through 12 or your child may be kind of a little bit on the latter end, we've got some plans, some investment options that will work for you, and to be able to build up some savings. We all know that the cost of post-secondary education is continuing to rise, and you've got to start early and to be able to combat those. For any additional information or if you've got any questions, reach out to arkansas529.org, or you can call our office at 501-682-1406.
Thank you, Grant. Emma, is there anything you'd like to add before we end our town hall meeting?
And then I will say that Grant did an excellent job. Again, just follow us on Facebook, Arkansas529.org, Instagram, Arkansas529, and just continue to keep up with what Arkansas was doing, because I will say that the treasurer has done a tremendous job in helping to promote saving for our kids' higher education.
Great, and we at the Reform Alliance are really excited about sharing more information with families about the 529 plan. This is an excellent program, and we're just excited that every family in Arkansas can use this for educating their children. So, Grant, Emma, thank you both. We'd like to thank you for joining the Reform Alliance tonight for our town hall meeting. If your question was not answered and you need more information from our office on the school choice opportunities available in Arkansas, give us a call at 501-244-9028, or you can email us at thereformalliance.org. I'm Valerie Pruitt, the Executive Director of the Reform Alliance, and thank you for joining us, and have a great evening.